Everyone, welcome to the channel. So in this video I'm going to show you building a town relocation tool using a ModelBuilder in ArcGIS. So now let's get started. So now everyone, welcome to the channel. So in this video I'm going to show you building a town relocation tool using a ModelBuilder in ArcGIS. So now let's get started. So now here in the table of contents section you can able to visualize we have three different layers. So one layer here represents the major rivers, and the second layer which represents the town boundary, and the third layer represents the land unit parcel. So we have a town boundary here in green, in pink color, you can able to see that, and this particular represents a river. So when relocating this town from here ultimately to somewhere else, kind of uphill over here, and we want to figure out what is the best new site is. And I suspect that one major criteria that the town like this could use when finding a new location for their town is that they probably don't want to move across a major river like this. So this is a major river in the study area. So now going across this river, it goes into another state. So in the right side of this river it is one state, and then the left side of the river it's another state. So there could be far more logistic in moving across the river, and I suspect they will want to stay on the same side of the river. Well, in feeding this into the statistical model and developing, I need a way to characterize whether or not these land units, these parcels here are on the same side of the river as the town, or on a different side of the river as the town. So now interactively I could just select the parcels on one side or in another, and add an attribute and call it a good. But I want this to be automated because right now I have to do this 12 times, and I want to be reproducible, and I also want it to be able to redone easily if the parameters changes. So we might change the search area, so we have more parcels going further out, or we might add another variable and have to destroy and rebuild our model. So I wanted this to be totally automated. So before we proceed, let's think about this a little bit. So how do we take this town here in purple color has denoted here, and then assign an attribute only to all these parcels around it, but not to these ones based upon the back of the town that's on this side of this feature class, not on the other side of this feature class. And we have this line running through all this parcels here. You can able to see that this is a river, and this is a line that's running across these parcels. And we have this polygon here which representing a town and the correct side of the river, and we need to assign an attribute to all this parcels, but not to the ones on the other side of this major river here. So in this video, by making the first part of our tool to find which parcels are on the same side of the river as the original town boundary. So to start out, let's make a new toolbox as we did it before. So now navigate to this option called Arc Toolbox. So once you click that, a window pops up saying Arc Toolbox here. We're going to right click and we're going to click this option called Add Toolbox. So now we're going to create a tool here. So now we're going to click this option called New Toolbox. So now we're going to enter the name of this tool called Town Relocation Tools. So now here you can able to visualize have I entered as Town Relocation Tool. So once you did that, we're going to click the Town Relocation Tools, and we're going to click this option called Open. So it's going to add our tool in our Arc Toolbox, this section, this window. So now here you can able to visualize the tool has been added here, Town Relocation Tools. So now here we're going to right click this tool here and navigate to this option called New. In that we're going to click this option called Model. So now a window pops up saying Model here. So now here navigate to this option called Model. In that we're going to click this option called Save As. So now to add this model to our tool called Town Relocation Tool, so for that we're going to click this option called go to the option called Model, and we're going to click this option called save as. And now navigate to the folder location where your store you have saved your town relocation tool. So I'm going to click this. So I'm going to double click this, and now we're going to enter the name as a mark parcels on same side of river. So now I have entered as mark parcels on same side of river. I'm going to click save. So let me click this option called save. And now you can able to visualize it. So here we have town relocation tools. We have our model called mark parcels on same side of river. So now to start with, I can add a data as a few different ways. So I can take this land unit parcel and just drag them onto the canvas in this way. So in this way you can add your data, or you can use the standard method as a add a data. So you have to navigate to your folder location where you have saved your this GIS shape files, that is land unit parcels, town boundaries, and major river. You have to navigate to the folder location. So I can also add a data by creating a variable, and I can add data of all sort of different types. So I can also add this data types like feature class, and click OK. So now I have added a feature class. So to delete this particular data, we're going to right click on this, and we're going to click this option called delete. So now one thing I like to do with my model in particular is I like the first step in my model to make a copy of the data I'm working on, especially if I'm going to add a field to that data set. So when I keep working with the data, I want to not actually destroy my input. So when I have a complex model, I may end up running it to 5, 10 or 20 times to debug it, and that means that I add that field 5, 10 or 20 times, and it's nice to not to worry about that, because if the first part of this model is to make a copy, then it starts with the clean version of the data set each time, and I don't destroy my input, and I don't get a weird behavior in my model. But so far we haven't really talked about ways to make copies of the data with geoprocessing tools. The only thing we can put on our model, the canvas, or the geoprocessing tools on the data, or the variables here. So we need to learn how to do it with a geoprocessing tool. In fact, a lot of things you use, especially in our catalog, to make the copies of the data, or the geoprocessing tools. If it looks like a geoprocessing tool when it pops up, and it probably is. Otherwise, it tends to be look like a standard interface option here, like this is not a geoprocessing tool. Let me show you that. I'm gonna right click, and we're gonna click this option called export data, and this is not a geoprocessing tool. Okay, let me close this. To the search section here, you can able to visualize here. In that, we're going to click this tool called copy feature. So let me enter as a copy feature. So now click search result here, and now here you can able to visualize the copy feature data management. We're going to click this tool, and we're going to drag into our model builder. So now we have our copy feature tool here. So this is a geoprocessing tool. Now we can get to our last way to add a data to our map document, or to our model. I have already showed you other ways to add a data into our model builder interface. So now let me double click this tool here, and now it has a data input. I can select from the input here. So I can select anything from this input feature list, anything in my map document, or that's already in my model. So now let me click this this particular layer, land unit parcels, and it's our land unit parcel layer here. And now we're going to click OK. So you can also delete this particular the land unit parcel data here. We're going to right click and click this option called delete. So you can also add the data just by going to the land unit parcels here. We're going to click it and we're going to drag into our model builder interface. And to make the connection to this copy feature geoprocessing tool, we're going to click this option called connect. And now we're going to click on this land unit parcel and we're going to connect to the copy feature tool. So it will be input feature. So the input feature, just not a casual word. I will double click this tool here. So now I can see this is our input feature. You can able to see here. So when it's offering me to some sort of item to select when I make a connection, it's offering me a different parameters in the model that the variable that the item on my canvas can potentially fulfill. It will only show me the items that variable can actually fit as. We can make it to connect something else too. So for example, we're going to click this tool again and we're going to make a connection here to our copy features, and in that we're going to select environments. So note that we have an environment, so it shows me the environment setting for that tool. This particular feature classes can be set as. So we can set it for an extent or the cell size or the mask, but it's not a raster, and we are not doing a raster analysis, so I'm going to not to set those right now either. So one other thing to notice, we can set it as a precondition. Let me show you that here. We're gonna click this, and so you can able to see there is a precondition option. So a precondition means that data isn't fed in, but that this particular operation, whatever is happening out to the left here, needs to be happen before we run this tool, and we can only make it out of use later. So now we're going to create a label for this tool here, so to make it more understanding for us. So we're going to right click and we're going to click this option called create label. So I'm going to drag this and I'm going to paste the label here. So I'm going to enter as copying the data to allow for multiple testing runs. I'm going to right click, so I'm going to write it as copying. So now let us rename our output more clearly here. I'm going to right click and we're going to click this option called rename. So we're going to rename as a copied parcel layer. So we're going to click OK. So this is the output, and this is our input data, and this is our output data, and this is our geoprocessing tool. And now let me double click this copy feature tool here, and you can able to notice here have renamed this particular output feature class as copied parcel layer. So here, so I can notice that in the output the copied parcels layer doesn't affect the name in the output feature class here. You can able to see that it has a test parcel copy features, and we have renamed as it as a copied parcel layer. And now we're going to rename as a copied parcel layer, similar to the output class here. So you can able to see that here have named as a copied parcel layer, similar to our output class. And make sure that in output feature class the name should this particular name, that is copied parcel layer, should be similar to that of this particular one here. So in that way I get the same data layer name, same data layer name in the default geodatabase, and I don't end up with naming collision if I do any more copy features later. So now let's add another tool to our model builder interface here. So one thing we know we need to do is, before we actually mark the river or the parcels that have river as a rivers, we need to add a field to the mark. So for that we're gonna move on to the search section here. So we're gonna search for a geoprocessing tool name called. So we're gonna search a tool called add field. And now we're gonna click this search option here. So we're gonna drag this tool called add field data management tool. We're gonna click and drag into our model builder interface here. So now let me open this tool here. I'm gonna double click here. So you can able to visualize here. This is our add tool. So now here you can able to notice there's a familiar items here like the input tables and the field name and the field types. But it's not the same tool we used when we are looking at the attribute table. And now let's connect this tool. So we're gonna click this option called connect, and we're gonna connect this copied parcel layer into our add field. And I'm gonna select as an input table because it can't be the field. It's the input table. So but this time you can able to see here the add field didn't light up. You can able to compare to the other, has a color on it, but the add field tool doesn't have a color because I need to define before the add field is ready to run. So we need to define it. So let me open this. And in fact I need to define the field name. So now in the input table I'm gonna select the copied parcel layer. We're gonna select copied parcel layer, and the field name, so in the field name, so in this case I'm adding a field to say whether or not a parcel is a river, that is this land parcel is whether or not the parcel is a river. So for that, so I'm gonna define is river. So the is river will be my parcel name here. Now in the field name field type, I will make it as a short because it's just going to be a 0 or 1. So I'm gonna select the field type to be short, and I'm gonna leave it as a nullable here. The field is nullable because initially they won't have any values, so the field will be full of null values. So now we're gonna click OK. So now this particular tool is now ready to run. So to align it automatically, we're gonna click this option called auto layout. So now I'm gonna rename this particular output class here. I'm gonna right click and click this option called rename. So I'm gonna rename as the parcel, the parcels with a river field. So now I have entered as the parcels with a river field. And now we can add one more tool into our ModelBuilder interface here, because we have now copied our parcel layer, and because we have now copied our parcels layers, and get that copied parcel layer is in this item here, and then we pass that layer into the add field tool and get this particular feature class with the field added. But what we still need to do is to set the values on that field. So now I'm going to the calculate field. So now go to the search section here. We're gonna enter as calculate field. So now I'm gonna click this option called search, and now we're gonna add this calculate field data management tool into our ModelBuilder interface here. And guess what this does? It is basically the field calculator. It is another item that is available as a geoprocessing tool, specifically so that we can use it in a geoprocessing workflow like the ModelBuilder or the Python scripting. So now we're going to connect this particular tool. So I'm going to click this option called connect tool here. So I'm going to connect this parcel with the river field into our calculate field, so as an input table. The other thing we get here is that the ModelBuilder does some special work in the background, that if it has this copy of it here, this particular one here, even though they are referring the same feature class on my hard drive, the calculate field tool now knows that this field that we have added here should exist. So when we go to the calculate field here, I'm gonna double click. So under the field name here, there is river shows up here, because even though it doesn't actually exist on the feature class yet, because we haven't run our model, it knows that it should exist because it's getting the output of the add field tool. So that's great. I'm gonna click OK. But you can able to see from this tool, it's still not ready to run here, even through it knows that input table and field name. So now let me select the field name here. So I'm gonna click is river. And what we need to do is give it an expression here, and what I want to do here is just to set the default. I want to say that none of the parcels are the river layer for now, or not a river layer. None of the parcels are coincident with the river for now. Well, we will then go mark which ones are, but we need to set the default up to 0 first. So now with the expression we're gonna add 0, and now we're gonna click OK. So now the tool is ready to run here. You can able to see the colors. So now I'm gonna rename this particular tool here. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna rename as the calculate default river value, and we're gonna click OK. And it still knows to run the calculate field tool. So let me double click this. So it names it up here, that is calculate default river value, but it's still the calculate field tool. And I can do the same to these other tools here. So now I'm gonna rename this particular here. So I'm gonna right click here and we're gonna click this option called rename. So I'm gonna rename as a parcels with the default river value. So I've entered as parcels with a default river value. I'm gonna click OK. And now I'm gonna click this auto layout here. So it's gonna auto arrange itself. So what it does is it takes the land unit parcel we provide to it, and it copies them to a new version of the same layer to here, the copied parcel layer, and it adds the field for whether or not the parcel is coincident with the river, and it calculates that field to be as 0. We have managed to create a part of our model. So we had been using the copy feature tool, and we have created a add field. To add a field, we are using add field tool, and we have used our calculate field tool too in order to add a default value, a default field on our parcels layer that says whether or not it's a river, and it fills that with zeros out and saying none of these parcels are a river. So let's continue with that. Actually make it a real value, and by that I mean let's find which parcels actually are the river, and fill the river field with a value 1 where the parcel is a river. So to do that we need to do a little bit of workaround. Well, I want you to be able to use selections just like the select by location, the parcels that are in line with the river. I can't do that with just a feature class, because the feature classes only exist in my disk, and that's what we are using right now. So we are using feature classes. So instead what I need to do is to make the feature layer. Now a feature layer is a lot like what we are seeing here in the table of content content section. So the table of content section, it's a feature because that's loaded into memory and has some properties related to it, and it can be used in an analysis such as a selection workflow. Now this one might already be a feature layer, but if I want to be able to and provide the correct parameters to the people in the future when they run this tool, the copy feature tool can take a feature classes as an input. Let me show you that. So here it has an input feature here. So I need to make it as a feature layer just to make sure. So in the search section, we're going to search a tool called make a feature layer. So I'm going to search a tool called make a feature layer. So I'm going to search this or click this option called search. So now we have a variety of results. So we're going to select this particular tool, that is make feature layer data management. So now I'm going to drag and drop this tool in our ModelBuilder environment. So this is our make feature tool here. So now we're going to connect this tool. So we're going to use this connect tool here, and we're going to click this parcel with default river value. I'm going to connect to our make feature layer tool here as an input feature. So now I'm going to rename this as a parcels layer. I'm going to right click and click this option called rename. So I'm going to rename as a parcels layer. So now I have renamed as a parcels layer. I'm going to click OK. So now we're going to open this make feature layer tool here. So let's make the output layer called parcels layer as well. So now I have renamed as a parcels layer in our output layer here. So that's what we are going to refer in the future. So the parcels layer will be the name basically of our feature class, but of our feature layer that we use when we are working within other tools. So now we have a feature layer. We can actually run the selections on it. So again, we're going to look at another tool that we used in the interface, but that we have yet to use in geoprocessing, which is the select layer by location tool. So in the search section, I'm going to enter a select layer by location. So now I have entered as select layer by location. I'm going to click this option called search. So now this is our tool, select layer by location, data management. So this tool is also known as the select by location when we used it in the selection. So now we're gonna add our select by location tool. So we're gonna click and drag this into our ModelBuilder interface. So this is our select layer by location. So let me open this. So select layer by location, it looks kind of different, but it has all the same options. So in this tool we have our input feature layer, so we can add our input feature layer here, and we have the relationship option here. We have many options, intersect, and a lot of options here, and we have selecting features, and the selection type we have many options here. So new selections, add to a selection, and switch selections. So now we're going to provide this as our input feature layer. So for that we're going to use this connect tool here. I'm going to click and we're going to connect it. So we're going to select input feature layer, and then to get the other one from now, let's right click on this particular tool here. I'm going to right click, and we're going to navigate to this option called make variable from parameters, and then we're going to click this option called selecting features. So I want to show the selecting features on our canvas here without having specified it yet. Maybe I don't actually have it defined yet, or what, but I haven't maybe loaded it up. And what I can do now, after having made it a variable, so I can right click on this selecting feature. I can add it as a model parameter, and I can do the same to a parcels layer, that is the land unit parcels. I'm going to right click and click this option called model parameter, so that in the future when this tool is in the run, the both of these can be provided as a parameter to the geoprocessing tool. And I could have done this in another way. I could have dragged the river layer into our model builder environment and connected it just like we did it before using our connect tool. But I wanted to make sure you knew all the different ways to get these variables to show up on your model builder environment here. So now I'm gonna double click this, and I'm gonna select the major river layer here, and we're gonna click OK. So now I'm gonna rename as rivers, and I'm gonna click OK. And similarly, I'm gonna rename this land unit parcels as a parcel, and now click OK. So that should anybody use it in the future, so that's what's going to show up when they run the geoprocessing tool. So now let me save this. We're gonna navigate to this option called model, click save. So you can also take a look at this tool now here. So let me open the Arc toolbox here. In that, I'm gonna double click this as a geoprocessing tool. So you are currently viewing our model as a geoprocessing tool here. So we have two options. One is our river options, and the second is our lab parcels. So let me close this. So now we provided two inputs to this tool from our geoprocessing workflow. So we have provided our parcels layer and the river layer. So it says it's ready to run, but let's make sure that we set all the options. So let me open this tool here. So in order to find the parcels that have a river running to them, so I'm going to select the parcels layer using the intersect relationship. So using this option called intersect relationship, where it intersects with the river layer. So let me show you one more thing here. So this is our land parcels layer and this is our river layer. So the intersect looks good to me. So now in the new selection is fine for the selection type here. So I'm gonna click OK. So to arrange this tool in orderly manner, we're gonna again click this option called auto layout. So we are getting a very linear model here for most part of this model creation. So okay, now we have our river parcels selected. We can override the default value that we set in this calculate value step by setting the selected parcels to have a value of 1. So for that, we're gonna copy this tool here. We're gonna click this tool. I'm gonna right click and gonna copy, and I'm gonna paste Control V. So this is the one thing you can do in the model builder. So we can copy the tool and paste it using this option here. We're gonna select and we're gonna click this option called copy. So you can paste the tool using the option called Control V. So this one is particularly useful. So we don't have to go back and search for the tools. So we can just copy the tools and rerun them. It linked it there for me, but without even moving it, I can say what I want this selected layer to be the input table. So I'm gonna break the connections here. So I want this particular selected layer as my input. So I'm gonna click this option called connect tool. I'm gonna select this selected layer and we're gonna connect to this calculate default river value 2 as an input table. And then I need to make sure I go to the correct values in here. So I'm gonna double click on this tool here. So we will calculate the value for is river, and in this case we're gonna set our expression as 1 here. So now we have set of expression as 1 here, and now we're gonna click OK. So we selected the parcels that intersects with the river, and then we now going to calculate those selected parcels value for this is river field and say yes, they are the rivers, and make that the value of the field to 1. So again we're gonna auto layout. So now we can able to see the tool here. So again I'm gonna save this model here. I could validate it up here to make sure everything is good, and then run it. So to validate, we're gonna click this option called validate entire model. So the model is good to run, but let's run the tools one by one. So we're gonna run this model just run piece by piece. So I'm gonna right click on this model here, and we're gonna navigate to this option called run. So the copy feature tool has run here. So it has run. So let me close this. So I get the shadow. So it means that it's completed. And now let's run the add field tool. So we're gonna navigate this tool here. We're gonna right click and click this option called run. So the add field has run here. I'm gonna close. Similarly, we get the shadows. So now let's view this data here, parcels with the river field here. So I can right click here and click this option called add to display. So then now the layer has been added to our display here. Let me minimize it. So we now have a copy of this data here, the parcels with the river field, just as we had it named. So this is the copy of this particular layer called land unit parcels. And now let's navigate to this attribute table. We're going to right click the parcels with the river field layer, and we're going to click this option called open attribute. In that we're going to find this particular field called is river. It's completely null here. So now we're gonna run this field tool called calculate default river. So we're gonna right click and click this option called run. So it has run here. I'm gonna close this, and let's do some quick sort of this layer here. So I'm gonna update this value here in the river. So we're gonna do a quick sort here on this layer. So it's gonna update the values. So we're gonna click sort ascending. So now it's updated the values here. So we have ran the tool here, and I just did a sort to force it to refresh the values in the field. So we can see that the is river is now 0 here, and now let's make it a feature layer. So we're gonna right click this layer here, and we're gonna click this option called run. So the tool has ran here. I'm gonna close this. And now this layer, that is a partial to the river field, and now it's not necessarily working with this version here. So I can add this to the display. So I'm going to right click and click this option called add to display. So I have a parcel layer now which is different from the parcels with the river field, even through the values in the attribute table will update. So but if I want to see the selections in action, I need to go to the parcels layer. So let's remove the previous version we are looking at. So I'm going to remove this. So now let's run our tool called select layer by location. So I'm going to right click and click this option called run. So the select by location has run. We're going to close this. So let me minimize it. Okay, so the select by location ran. So now if we just update my display by going to this option called view section here. So here we're going to click this option called refresh. So now I can see the selection again here. So it doesn't automatically updates the display in ArcMap after we run an operation ModelBuilder, but if we force the display to refresh, we can see what's we are doing here. So yeah, it's selecting what I want correctly and selected all the parcels that intersects with the river, and now we can calculate the value of those parcels. Since remember the field calculator only works on the selected features. So now we're gonna run our tool calculate default river value, that is to add a value of 1 to the field of where the river kind of meets with the parcels, where the river intersects with the parcels layer. So we're gonna run this tool. We're gonna right click and click this option called run. So the tool has ran here. I'm gonna close this. Take a look at the parcels layer attribute table. So we're gonna look at the parcels layers attribute table. We're gonna right click and click this option called open attribute. So let me drag this attribute table here, and let me navigate to the is river field here, and you can able to see from this is river field these are all 0, which is to be expected, but they are not the selected parcels right now. So the one that are selected still should be 1. So let me check that here. We're going to drag this down here, so you can able to see here one that is selected is 1 here, and similarly so one that is selected is also 1. You can able to see from this field here. So value 1 here represents the parcels with the river, and value 0 represents the parcels without river. You can able to see here. So that's perfect. So everything is selected on here, and that is this part of the section here, that is here. The selected attribute table should have been updated to 1 saying yeah, it's a river parcel, and everything else is 0 saying no, it's not a river parcel. Okay, then our workflow works. So we have successfully built a model, a very complicated model so far, that figures out which parcels have a river running through them, which we can use as a jumping off point for the rest of our model. So we will leave it there for now, but in the next video we will continue where we left off, and we will go on and resolve the parcel based upon that river values, since the once the current river can be joined in one big polygon, and then we will do rest of our selections and the attribute updates. So thanks for watching, and in this video I have shown you how to select river parcels from our parcels layer using the model builder in ArcGIS Pro. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe to our channel and give us a like.